All right, I'm about 5 minutes late, but I had to update my computer because this is episode 600 of this little YouTube show called Dylan Knows that I started almost 12 years ago. 600 episodes. It seemed just only like yesterday I did 500 episodes, and I had the whole thing where I did my 500 best movies of all time, and I was trying to think of something good to do for 600. Going to do 100 movie lists, like 100 best romantic comedies, 100 best science fiction movies, 100 best action films, stuff like that, but it just never came to fruition. Things just started happening. The world went to shit and still is there, and just kind of blah. But it is prime time. It is 8 o'clock, 8:06 p.m. on Sunday, March 30th. This will be the last episode I do of Dylan Knows in March. Next weekend, we get April. We get the Minecraft movie next weekend, but I'm not going to go see it. My daughter is, though. My daughter just finished the last play that she's ever going to do in high school. She was a stage manager for the musical Chicago, which ran this past weekend. Last year, she was assistant stage manager for SpongeBob SquarePants musical. The year before that, she was one of the side stage crew workers for Addams Family musical. And our freshman year, which was right around COVID time, they did just a little mini sort of concert for the seniors who were leaving, and they just sang songs from musical with no dancing or stuff like that, just singing. There were a few little props here, and she came out and fixed the microphone and moved tables around, stuff like that. So she did do some stuff. So she's been doing it for 4 years. I'm sorry that she kind of wasted her time with Addams Family and SpongeBob. They're both, okay musicals. Would have been nice to see what she could have done with Mamma Mia or even Oklahoma or The Music Man or Grease or any of these other ones that are out there now too. But Chicago was decent. They had a lot of technical issues with the sound. And in my day, 35 years ago, was the last time I was on stage. Not 35, 30 years ago was the last time I was on stage. In my day, we projected our voice. We had no microphones on us. And we did our best. And they don't do that anymore. So that's fine. If you could have just taught them how to project their voice and had the microphones, maybe if the microphones were screwed up, you could still hear stuff. But it was kind of confusing. And if you didn't know the story and you couldn't hear a lot of the stuff, it got a little confusing here and there. But the students did really, really well. Stage crew headed by my daughter did very, very well also. Saw it twice. Saw it yesterday, Saturday, and saw it today, Sunday, for the matinee. Family was down both days. That's why I went to see both of them. So it was fine, but it is her last hurrah in high school. She's going to college, and she might be interested in doing that in college as well. So 600 episodes. Again, I just plow away at this. Every 2 years we hit one of these milestones because I do once a week. So you figure 52 weeks in a year. So roughly about every 2 years, I do another one of these. So 2027 will be the next year. We do 700th episode. So we'll see if we're even still around, still surviving at that time, because our country is a shithole country right now because we have fucking rulers who don't know shit and uneducated morons who are just fucking annoyingly stupid fuck faces. So they go fuck themselves. And I'm so sick and tired of that. So I got some interesting stuff this week. The biggest deal was what Disney did with Avengers Doomsday. I have a whole page to discuss about that. That'll be in a little bit. Some big deaths, some earthquakes, some Brad Pitt stuff. Some people step down, some production starts, some production ends, some anniversaries. Children. stuff like that. So here we are, Wild Ride, Sunday, 8:10 p.m. And just had pizza, so I might not drink this whole thing, but need a little something to coat my throat. It was also opening day this week for the Baltimore Orioles, my baseball team. Not as excited about baseball as I used to be, and don't really care much about it, to be honest. So just glad to see that. Home opener is tomorrow, Monday. They moved it up from 3:05 to 2:35 p.m. because there's supposed to be a wave of massive thunderstorms rolling through here tomorrow. I'll believe it when I see it. Weathermen have been fairly off this year with weather. So, and also not entirely their fault because, again, the morons in charge cutting the NOA for no reason. It's not wasteful spending. They're just being dicks because that's who they are. And they're terrorists and traitors and racist pieces of shit. But I digress again. So Orioles start off good. They won their actual opening day on my sister's birthday, March 27th, 12-2. They hit 6 home runs and did a pretty decent job. And then they lost the second game, 8-2. And then they won their third game, 9-5. And then they lost today 3-1. So they're currently 2-2, entering a 3-game homestand against the Boston Red Sox. The New York Yankees are getting into trouble already, and it couldn't be anyone better than that. They hit 9 home runs in the game using these new bats that have a bigger top. And I don't know how Major League Baseball made them legal, but it is going to add oomph to it. So they're being investigated right now for cheating, and I hope they get busted badly and bad things come burning down on top of them. As I said earlier, March 27th, Thursday, was my sister's birthday. They came up to see the Chicago show on Saturday, and we had dinner with them and gave them some presents, and they seemed to enjoy themselves. So that was all nice. Did I talk about enough of everything here? Yeah, I think I did. So it's funny that talking Chicago, the year started with me and my daughter watching the movie. Then they did their show this weekend, and then June 6th, the traveling show of Chicago will be hitting the Hippodrome, which is our big theater downtown in Baltimore, and we're going to go to that also. So it'd be fun to see how all of them differ from each other. But I mentioned the movie. Renee Zellweger, who starred in the movie, is actually joining the cast of Only Murders in the Building's new season. So that's pretty cool for them. Nick Frost is Hagrid in the new Harry Potter series. So they have had interesting casting so far. Again, not going to be enough for me to give a damn about it because I don't have Max. J.K. Rowling is a lunatic, and I thought the movies did a fine job with what they had, and I don't really need to see every damn thing laid out. Now, I have issues with the third movie that everybody says is the best in the series, which is a bunch of bullshit, because that was one movie where they needed to explain a lot more. They just sort of breezed over stuff, anticipating that everybody read the books, so they filled in the gaps themselves, which is really stupid. So Alfonso Cuarón, to me, made one of the worst Harry Potter movies, but everybody in the world says that I'm a moron and say he's one of the best ones. So I don't agree with you. And that's the only movie I think of all of them. I would have changed some stuff. I would have changed some stuff in the fourth one also, Goblet of Fire. But other than that, nothing really, and in the sixth one also. So there were a couple ones that I have issues with, but I'm not going to be one of these people that says I have to have every goddamn single little minute detail in my show. But Nick Frost, I guess, is a good choice for Hagrid. At this point, I really don't care. I don't even know if I'm ever going to get back to doing my annual reread of it's not annual because I haven't done it in years, reread the Harry Potter books just because J.K. Rowling is a psychopath. But I digress. We got a new trailer for Thunderbolts, which is looking more and more like one of the best movies of the year, in my opinion. And it's a Sentry viewpoint. We still have not seen him in full costume. We see him in shadow again. You see him get talked about, and the Thunderbolts are going to have to take him out. So that's going to be cool. It was very good, and it looks like it's going to be a good film. Megan Fox had a daughter this week. She has divorced her husband, Machine Gun Kelly. They're going to co-parent. Celebrities are weird, so we'll see what happens. Then this is this is probably some of the best news of the week. Zendaya has been cast as Ronnie Spector in the A24 biopic Be My Baby, directed by Barry Jenkins. I love everything about that. The director, the star, the biopic, and A24 doing it. I think it's going to be a phenomenal movie. Again, won't be out till next year at the earliest, but the fact that this movie is going to be even made with that cast and director gives me high hopes for it, and looking forward to seeing about it. Anna Lamb joins Brad Pitt in Heart of the Beast. I think that's his survival thriller movie he's doing, also with David Ayer, I think. And also, speaking of directors that Brad Pitt's worked with multiple times, David Fincher is rumored to be circling Brad Pitt for the lead role in his next movie, which has not been announced yet. We have no idea what it is, but David Fincher, who hasn't made a movie in a while now, I think. I can't remember the last movie that he made. But he hasn't made one in a little bit, I don't think. So he's circling Brad Pitt to star in it. He's worked with Pitt before. We'll see how that actually works out. Jennifer Salke has stepped down as the head of Amazon MGM Studios. She wants to get into producing instead of being management. So good for her. The Watch the Skies trailer debuted. The movie's supposed to debut May 9th. It's about a young girl who's looking for her father, who she believes was abducted by aliens, and she stumbles upon something that she shouldn't have seen. So the government is after her to stop her, and she joins up with her father's UFO club, and they work together to try to solve this issue without getting killed. So seems kind of interesting. We'll see how that goes. Mobland trailer, Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren, another mob TV show thing, but it's a good cast, but it's out. Didn't really give a rat's ass about the show because it's not of interest to me really that much. So, but it's good, got a good cast. So if you like that kind of stuff, absolutely go for it, man. A 7.7 magnitude earthquake hit Myanmar with over 1,600 people dying. Multiple apartment complexes collapsed upon themselves, and there's also video of a swimming pool that was at the top of one of these buildings cascading over the building as the earthquake is occurring, making it look like a waterfall. So over 1,600 people, multiple buildings, high buildings, not little shitty buildings, massive, like 50-story building things coming down, maybe not 50, but like 25, 30-story buildings coming down that killing the people inside there. So over 1,600, probably closer to 1,700 by now. So it's kind of rough there. Saw an ad for a Bigfoot lamp, which looks really, really cool. It's one of those lamps that looks like a stained glass sort of thing, but in the shape of Bigfoot. So it actually looks really neat. That's online thing, I think. But I just happened to see it, and I was like, oh, I need to mention it because it's my 600th show, so why not? So, as I said, nothing exciting for my 600th show. But unlike comic books, I do not restart my series they've restarted their series so many times, and then when they get close to a milestone, they go back and say, hey, we're going to do this old school numbering system for a while just to hit this like issue 1000 so we can spend, have you shell out $10 for a comic book, and then we'll go back to the old numbering system again. We'll go back to number 7 or whatever. So it's just one of these weird little comic book things all in for the money. And kind of the reasons why I'm dropping out of the comic book stuff, and I haven't been doing them in a while. Coca-Cola is recalling 900 cases of Coke, cans of Coke, due to possible plastic being found inside the Coke cans, infestation, whatever you want to call it. So there you go. The Ravens coach John Harbaugh has had his contract extended 3 years, so he'll be the Ravens coach at least for another 3 years after this, so that's good for that. A Mississippi middle school in Mississippi, passed out edibles that hospitalized many of his classmates. How the hell do you get enough edibles, and how the hell do you not know what they are? I mean, you're a middle schooler. You should know exactly what they are, or you just thought they were candy or something. I don't know. I mean, it's possible what it could be. I mean, my cousin thought X-Lax was chocolate, so she ate a whole bunch of them when she was really, really little. But she was really, really little. She wasn't a middle school kid. So crazy stuff, man. Speaking of crazy, secret CIA files confirm that the CIA claims to have discovered where the Ark of the Covenant is using psychics. This is an actual story that Yahoo News dropped on everybody, and multiple news sites that are not ones that publish these fantastic sort of stories have dropped this story as well. CIA claimed to have discovered the Ark of the Covenant thanks to psychics. Okay. I don't know what else I got to say about that. The South African Nazi that's in the White House right now destroying our country, and nobody's stopping him, even though he is an illegal alien, has sold his formerly known as Twitter, I'm not going to call it X, sold Twitter back to himself and his new AI company. So basically he just shifted it to another company that he owns that is more solvent than he is. So he can still control it, and it's run by someone else now, or it's still run by him, but it claims to have a new name and stuff like that. So new business thing. It's nothing. It just happened. Deaths. Young Scooter, a rapper, died at the age of 39 this week. L.J. Smith, the author of the Vampire Diaries, died this week as well. Anniversaries. The Panic Room, David Fincher, talking about David Fincher. Panic Room came out 23 years ago. So that was 23 years ago when Panic Room came out. So that was in the 2000s, since that would have been 2002. I know he did The Social Network in the 2000s, and 2010s maybe. And I know The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is also within the 2010s. And then Gone Girl is in there somewhere as well. I think it's like the last tier of the 2010s, like 2019. After that, Benjamin Button was in there, I think, in the 2000s as well. But other than that, I don't think he's really done anything that I can think off the top of my head. But Panic Room did come out with Jodie Foster and Jared Leto 23 years ago this week. And another anniversary, this one's local. The Baltimore Ravens officially arrived in Baltimore on March 29th, 1995. Excuse me, 1996. And this is the beginning of this season. It's the beginning of their 30th season, since it'll bleed over to 2026. So 30 years with a football team. I'm glad we got it back. All right. Here we are at 20-minute mark. This is the biggest news of the week. Disney decided they were going to try to do something different. And they said they were going to drop a massive breaking news about the next Avengers movie, Avengers Doomsday, which is set to come out May of next year. The first big news that everybody thought that was going to be the only news was that it was revealed that Doomsday has officially started production this week. So they are currently working on an Avengers film as we speak right now. And Disney decided, instead of just dumping the names of who the cast is, they decided to do an excruciatingly slow 5-hour live stream where they lined up close to 26, 30 director's chairs with the names of the actors who have been cast in Doomsday and who will be sign their contracts and will be coming back to be in Doomsday. So 275 million people viewed this live stream. And look, I'll be the first to admit it. Once I found out what they were doing, I live streamed it on the way home in my car and watched as they revealed the last name and so on and so forth. Honestly, well, no, there's big surprises and some not so big surprises. And you're also, I'm just going to drop this now here. This list seems incomplete. And Robert Downey Jr. said as much, really. He said that there still might be more names to be revealed. And once you find out the ones that were and the ones that weren't, you've got to start thinking about where they might be going. I have some theories. I'll talk about them as well after I reveal the names. I will not be doing it in excruciatingly slow 5-hour period. Even though it is my 600th episode, I should just do like a 6-hour episode. I'm not going to do that. So to begin with, the very first name that they announced was the only OG Avenger. Was an Avenger. And his character is in it and not another character that the actor is playing, which we'll get to in a little bit. But Chris Hemsworth will be returning as Thor. He is the only OG member that is on this list from the original Avengers. Again, as I said, the list is not complete, but we got to look at the facts here. The only people would be Ruffalo and Renner because Evans said he isn't going to do it. Downey, we already know what his story is. We'll get to that in a little bit. Scarlett's dead. So there really isn't anyone else that it could be. So Chris Hemsworth as Thor returning is good news and is the one thread that connects everything. Then we get to the mid-tiers, the ones who've been in a lot of the films, stuff like that, and have worked with the Avengers before. Paul Rudd will be in Doomsday as Ant-Man. Anthony Mackie, of course, will be Captain America after his stint as Captain America in Brave New World earlier this year. And in that movie, he was tasked with creating a new Avengers team, and he's hooking up his partner Falcon, played by Dan Ramirez, who's also cast in Avengers Doomsday. Simu Liu as Shang-Chi is going to be joining the cast, which is awesome. Glad to get him back into action a little bit. Letitia Wright, who plays the Black Panther in the second Black Panther movie, she will be joining the cast, as will be M'Baku, will be joining the cast as well of Doomsday. Next up, we have the people we were expecting to see. Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby's Miss Invisible Woman, the actor who plays The Thing, and Joseph Quinn's Human Torch all are going to be returning for Doomsday. That was pretty obvious and pretty sure, since Doom is their main bad guy, that they were going to be in here. But they decided to throw another Fantastic Four villain who appeared in Black Panther 2. Instead, The actor who played Namor is going to be cast. So Namor will be in Doomsday as well. Next up, we get another surprise. Tom Hiddleston's Loki will be making an appearance in Doomsday. So that's kind of interesting. The live stream ended with Robert Downey Jr. revealing himself. He actually walked down the row of all the chairs when they were done. He was the last person they announced. And he sat down on it and then went shh like that and then pointed up and they said, Avengers Doomsday is now in production. So he's obviously in it. All the Thunderbolts appear to be in it. Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, the actress who plays Ghost, Wyatt Russell, and Lewis Pullman are all been cast in Doomsday. And then here's where the big surprise is, and that gets to what my theory is. Then they showed Patrick Stewart's name, and they're like, oh, okay, old school X-Men, that's pretty cool. Then they showed Ian McKellen's name. I was like, oh. And then they kept going. Kelsey Grammer actually was the first one that popped up, who voices the Beast and last appeared in the Marvels mid-credit sequence, will be returning as well. And then James Marsden's Cyclops will be making an appearance, which is weird because I thought he was dead. Rebecca Romijn's Mystique has also been cast in the film. And Channing Tatum's Gambit appearance in Deadpool will also be in this movie. And Alan Cummings' Nightcrawler has also been cast in this movie. So we're getting old school X-Men. So here's my theories. This movie is going to be Avengers versus X-Men, with the X-Men being backing Doom probably, and the Avengers trying to stop whatever Doom's plans are. And the fact that these are the old school ones, these are not going to be the MCU X-Men because all of them are old. I'm sorry. Old people, no, you can only do so much acting, in these sort of physical stuff. Now, Channing Tatum could still make an appearance, but he is getting older also. But all these old school X-Men, to me, what this to me reeks of, and not reeks, it's a neat idea. That was the wrong term. What it feels like to me is that this is going to be like Star Trek Generations, which was the movie number 7 of the Star Trek series, which had the original Star Trek crew handing off to the new one, Next Generation, to have them take over the movies. So my thought is that this will be the last hurrah for these Fox X-Men, and the fact that Kelsey Grammer was the first person named means that Captain Marvel's friend, I forget not Quasar, but I forget her character's name that was in the Marvels with them, who ended up in that alternate reality with Kelsey Grammer's Beast, is going to be playing a big role in Come Back, which is why I also believe that they still haven't announced all the roles, and her name should be up there because she's in their timeline. So it would make sense for her to pop up in there. So what to me it seems like is that this is going to be an Avengers versus X-Men movie with Doom pulling the strings for the most part. And in the end, I don't know if they'll go to Secret War or this might be their last hurrah, but the MCU X-Men will be revealed at the end of Secret War, and this will be their last hurrah, sort of passing the baton to the younger generation so that we have, more age-appropriate X-Men who can handle the next 20 years of movies in their characters. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. A lot of people are believing the same thing about that as well. As I said before, this list seems incomplete. There's no Tom Holland Spider-Man. There's no Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange. There's no Charlize Theron's Clea. There is no Captain Marvel. There is no whatever Captain Marvel's friend is. There's no Miss Marvel. There's no Kate Bishop. There's no She-Hulk. There's no Daredevil or Punisher or any of that. Now, all that, I think the Daredevil, Punishers, and all that, they'll pop up in Secret War. But Captain Marvel and I keep forgetting what her name is. Monica Rambeau's character should be in this movie. Holland's Spider-Man is also not that big of a surprise because his fourth Spider-Man movie is supposed to sort of be an in-between between Doomsday and Secret War, and it's supposed to focus more on street level stuff and not the big galactic stuff, because that's how the third one ended, with him becoming more street level, and the cast Sadie Sink and whatever role that is now. So we'll see how that all sort of works itself out. But to have him not meet up with Tony Stark's, well, not Tony Stark, with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, who looks like Tony Stark, sort of thing. It's kind of intriguing, so we'll see what happens with that. But that's the whole point. They wanted to build up expectations and got people talking about it, and they did. Things got memed, so it did its job. It got all the stuff out that it needed to. There was no Guardians of the Galaxy mentioned, like Star-Lord is supposed to be involved in something also. So this list feels incomplete. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. People said that there are going to be upwards of 50 characters in this one. So that's an additional 23 that they have to cover. I think that's still a little too high. I think 50 was a high number, but the fact that, but that would fit with, all the Guardians of the Galaxy, all the Young Avengers, Captain Marvel and her crew, Spider-Man, and then the TV crew. As I said, I don't think this is all going to happen. And Rob Downey Jr. said that there are going to be more people listed eventually. So maybe they're just working out deals, or they want to keep them as surprises. We'll find out for sure next in May. Probably before then, when we start seeing trailers and stuff like that. Probably in time for San Diego this year, we'll have a better idea of what's going to be going on with this movie. So when you look at the names that were up here, so they have it sort of separated. You can pretty much make predictions here. Hemsworth, Rudd, Mackie, Ramirez, Liu, Wright, and Baku are probably going to be the new Avengers. Anthony Mackie has been tasked to get the new Avengers involved here. He wants to get Thor, who's an OG guy, in there to be involved with that. Paul Rudd is the first non-Avenger that he met before in the Ant-Man movie. They had a little thing, and then Anthony Mackie called him in for Civil War, so that makes sense for Paul Rudd to be there. Simu Liu, you need to have, sort of that mystic sort of thing, and you need to have somebody like that as well. And same thing, you need to have a Black Panther, and then to have, the muscle be there as well. You need to have some muscle there. Maybe they don't have the Hulk. Then you get M'Baku, who is pretty good about that. Then you got the Fantastic Four family with Namor being stuck with that group as well. You've got the Thunderbolts family. You've got the Fox X-Men family. And then you got the Wild Cards and Hiddleston and Robert Downey Jr. So we'll see how this all plays out in a year or so. As I said, we'll probably learn more about it during San Diego. There's a whole lot of other conventions besides San Diego that are coming up that could be utilized to announce this cast. So there you go. That was the biggest story of the week, and it was, I think it happened on Wednesday, the 26th. And just sort of took over the airwaves here. So it gives everybody a view that they can start making theories and theorize, stuff like that. And they're all over the place, the theories. And I have my own theories as well. So we got that as well. So moving right along. Speaking of Marvel, I keep seeing things that Blade is going to die. Is finally going to die. They're going to finally put the stake in Blade. His movies are done. They're not going to be done anymore. Marvel's cutting it as of this week. No, they just offered the directing job to Chad Stahelski, who did the John Wick movies, and I'm pretty sure he accepted it. And that'll be an awesome director for that, and they can finally get that off the ground. Oscar winner Mikey Madsen is up for the female lead in Resident Evil remake. She looks like the character. It makes the most sense to have her do that. Netflix is doing an LA live-action Scooby-Doo movie. So that's joining their already full list of TV shows that they're doing. So we'll be getting a live action Scooby Doo movie here down the line. We got our first poster of Downton Abbey's grand finale, which is the final movie in the Downton Abbey and the final story of Downton Abbey, set to debut September 12th of this year. Lily Taylor has joined the cast of Daredevil Season 2. In the role, again, we have no idea, so we'll find out. The Samuel Goldwyn Mayer has picked up the distribution rights for Red Sonja with Madeline Lutz, excuse me. We got our first look at her. She's got a very comic accurate costume, and that's been rated R for bloody violence. So it looks like they got it right. I just want to see it now, make my own decision. After having issues with Utah, Sundance is going to move to Boulder, Colorado in 2027 after its contract is up with Utah. So starting 2027, Sundance will be in Boulder, Colorado. Been to Boulder. Boulder's a fantastic town, absolutely awesome college town. It's a great choice, and hopefully it'll be successful for them. I was talking about Brad Pitt earlier. He was in a movie called Bullet Train, which is one of these comedy action thriller sort of things that had this like wry sense of humor with violence on the John Wick level, with all these colorful assassins coming out of the woodwork trying to get this thing that he has. Was successful. So, of course, what Hollywood does is they like to imitate, but change things up a little bit. We have the Fight or Flight trailer with Josh Hartnett, who's having a resurgence of sorts. Basically doing Bullet Train, but on an airplane in the air, where he's got to deal with assassins trying to kill him and him trying to kill people and not killing the people who are involved in the plane. It's a big plane. It's one of those ones like two-story plane sort of things. It has sort of the same sensibility, humor, action, violence, that sort of stuff. So we'll see how that goes. Jasmine Cephas Jones has joined the cast of Lanterns. Stephen Yeun has joined the voice cast of the Avatar Last Airbender sequel animated series coming out here soon. Halle Berry, not the old actress, but the one who was in the Little Mermaid reboot, will be joining Regé Jean Page in a movie called Italiorium. All right, first one I can't read there. GameStop may be closing down a bunch of shops here soon, so that continues that. But I also saw Macy's is on the chopping block now. So how are all of a sudden all of these shops and stuff like that starting to close down here? Is it the ad because Amazon is stealing everything, or online stuff is stealing it? So and rent is too high, and no one's coming in and shopping. It's a shame because they kind of need that. It's sort of kind of fun. The Ghost Adventures bros are having all kinds of issues. Last week, Aaron's wife hired a hitman to kill him. Didn't work. And she's in jail now, and they're divorced. Now, Holly Madison, who is been Zach Bagans' girlfriend for a while now, has broken up with him as well. Don't have much more to say about that. Legend of Zelda, the live action movie, has a date now for 2 years from now. March of 2027, we will see the live action version of Legend of Zelda. Don't know what that's going to look like, who's going to direct it, what the story is, anything, but it's coming. Mary Steenburgen, who is married to Ted Danson, will be joining the cast of Ted Danson's Netflix show, Man on the Inside, with their season 2 in a recurring role. So we'll see what that's all about. Supposedly season 2 has him infiltrating a liberal arts college. So that'll be interesting to see. Citadel, which was supposed to be this huge high-priced TV show created by the Russo brothers, spy show with a huge special effects budget. Every episode was huge, but because the Russos are involved, Amazon Prime says, "Okay, this could be a good show." They've got, it's going to be we'll hash out the money for it. Special effects, the Russo brothers. It's a romantic comedy, spy sort of thing. It should do bank. It didn't do bank. It did okay. It didn't get the response people wanted. They had already renewed it for season 2, so it is being delayed, though, as they try to figure out a way, I guess, to rejigger how much they're going to spend on it, because it's a financial kind of flop for them. And they're putting the spinoffs that were supposed to be all part of this, because this is a whole big deal. It's like, this is going to be the next big show. You're going to need spinoffs. We should have at least 2 seasons to tell our story. We got massive budgets, so it's going to look like a movie. We got the Russo brothers involved. And it didn't find an audience. So the spinoffs have been delayed or pushed back, or might not even happen. And the sequel, the next season, has been delayed as they try to figure out how they're going to save some money here. Glenn Powell's remake of The Running Man, with Edgar Wright directing, has finally finished filming. So that'll be coming out sooner than later. I think it comes out this year, to be honest. A sequel series to The Different World gets a pilot order at Netflix, with Jasmine Guy reprising her role. I don't know if Kadeem Hardison is going to be reprising his role either. I would assume probably, because it's going to focus on their daughter as she enters a all-black college, much like their one at Hillman in A Different World. Sydney Sweeney's a busy lady. She's making a thriller called Echo Valley with Julianne Moore. We got a first look at that. Sydney Sweeney is looking sexual in that one. She's looking as a good. She's playing a character. She's proving that she's more than her sexy body and face, and I applaud that for her. So more of that, please. One of my favorite films, and a hugely underrated film, Dark City, directed by Alex Proyas, who directed the Crow movie with Brendan Lee. It's finally coming to 4K, and that's another one that is a must-get at 4K. So that'll be coming out here in a little bit, so that's good. I feel bad for Simon Pegg. Now, Nick Frost just got cast as Hagrid in the Harry Potter movie, so he'll be okay. But Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, who have worked together forever in the Cornetta saga, that trilogy, and they're a comedy team, and they've been doing lots of movies. Well, they had a movie they were working on together with their production company, and they ran out of money, so the film had to be scrapped. And then Sony, who I guess was where the production company was housed, has shut down the production company there, because I guess they're losing money. So Simon Pegg and Nick Frost's production company no longer exists and is no longer a part of Sony, and they have no money. So we'll see what happens with them. Will Smith has released his first new album in 20 years, came out this week. So I haven't heard really anything of it. And I'm not, he's a good rapper and all that, but it's just not my type of music. So good luck for him. I hope everything works out for him. A submarine carrying 44 people sank off of the coast of Egypt. 6 people so far have died from that. Maybe you should stop taking people down in submarines, just saying. One battle after another. P.T. Anderson's new film with Leonardo DiCaprio gets his first trailer. It's not getting a lot of as much buzz as P.T. Anderson's movies usually do. P.T. Anderson's one of these directors that everybody loved working with. Thinks he's a wunderkind and is, any film snobs, if you say you don't like his work, they will destroy you because he's one of their gods. But apparently the hasn't been a lot of excitement about the trailer. Hasn't been a lot of excitement about the movie. And Leonardo DiCaprio's in it, and it just looks like some sort of war PTSD sort of movie. Not sure, but don't care. Not going to watch it, but it's just fine. It's funny that these film people are so fickle about things. All right, some bad news. Yosemite National Park. The remaining people who were warden, people who worked there, discovered Yosemite National Park worker found with severe injuries in employee housing dies. That's what the story is. So they somehow got severe injuries and then they end up dying. I don't know if that has to do with the money cuts that happened with that, but probably did. And here's another one that's connected to those terrorists in charge right now. Prosecutor who prosecuted Russia and Trump and all those people, she retired after he took back office. She was found dead in her Virginia house very soon after she retired. How convenient, after going after Russia and Donald Trump. Makes you think a little bit, doesn't it? A New Jersey police officer is accused of pooping on the floor, spiking cops' coffee with Viagra and Adderall, and shoving a hypodermic needle into a subordinate's penis. What the hell is that psycho doing in charge of the New Jersey Police Department? Absolute insanity just keeps going on. Some food stuff. Hellman's is offering 3 chicken tender sauces. Trying to get into the chicken tender sauce thing. Home chicken tender sauces you can try. Rice Krispie Treats, creating a new thing called the Rice Krispie Treat Bliss. That'll be stuffed with pretzels and have sea salt drizzles on it and mixes into it to give it a little bit more of a flavor. So they'll be coming out here soon, I think. Any anniversaries? Yeah, one anniversary. Civil War, not the MCU one, but the movie that came out last year. I forget the name of the actor, but about how Texas and California joined forces, which would never happen anyway. And a civil war broke out in America, and you follow a group of people who are dealing with the new status quo in America. Dead this week, Clive Revell, who was the first Emperor Palpatine in Empire Strikes Back. And then also was the first Alfred, his voice of Alfred in the Batman animated series, which they changed up and they put the guy from Hawaii Five-0 in there as well eventually. But he did start as the original Alfred. And also Matt Stevens, a member of the Broncos and Packers and the Super Bowl winner, I guess. He's a football player. He passed away this week as well. Yep. New John Grisham novel will be coming out October 21st called The Widow. I don't know if Grisham is as popular as he was back in the 90s. But he's still, writing books and printing them and selling them and stuff like that. So good on that. Alliance Entertainment has bought Diamond Comics. That's my local thing. My former employees who filed for bankruptcy. Alliance Entertainment has bought them. So we'll see how that plays out and what's going to happen with that. Behind the scenes picture of the new Wuthering Heights film with Margot Robbie is getting a lot of flack from fans of the book. It's a picture of Margot Robbie in the character's wedding dress, and the picture that was shown has divided the Wuthering Heights fan base. They saw that, and they saw Margot Robbie, who's in her 30s, late 20s, early 30s, and they say she's too old for the role. And they also say that the picture of her in her wedding dress, the wedding dress looks too modern and not like the type of wedding dresses they have during the time of when the novel was written. Now, that's an easy one to cover. Potentially, maybe they're not setting Wuthering Heights in the time it was written. Maybe they're setting it in an updated current window. You can do that with stories. If you can figure out a way to change things up, you can bring a classic story to present day. Around the beginning of 2000, Ethan Hawke and Gwyneth Paltrow did a version of Great Expectations, which was Charles Dickens's classic film, classic story from the 1800s, and they set it in modern day New York, and it worked out pretty good. So maybe Wuthering Heights is going to be doing something similar. Maybe they're not doing an adaptation that's set during when the book has it being set during their present day. Maybe it's during our present day. That's why the wedding dress looks more modern. And as for the age thing, does it really make a difference if she's older or younger? The story is about obsessive love, about two people in a toxic relationship. I know, but the fans of Wuthering Heights are probably concerned about what's going to happen. So this is a to be continued storyline. We will be checking into that. Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman's The Roses, which is a reinventing of the War of the Roses movie, is starting to get into production here now soon. George Clooney's Good Night and Good Luck Broadway play, based on the movie that he directed. I think he wrote the storyline as well. Netted $3.3 million in its opening week. My dad and stepmom are heading up to New York later in April, sometime in early April, to go see this on Broadway. So pretty cool about that. I had no idea what that says. So let's move on to here. Kaylee Cuoco is set to star in Vanished, a mystery thriller series. So that could be interesting. Scout Taylor Compton and Danielle Harris are set to co-direct and co-star in a film that they also co-wrote together called Last Chance Hotel. And it's about a newlywed couple that goes to a hotel and are threatened by the people that run it. It's a horror film, and it's got quite a horror cast in it. Also stars Heather Langenkamp from Nightmare on Elm Street, Monica Keena, who's been in a bunch of horror films as well, and Shane West as well. So we'll be seeing that soon. Seth Gilliam and Senfa O are set to star, Sophia O, I think, are set to star in a vampire film called Stakeout, which is supposed to be the beginning of a franchise potentially. Charlotte Keeler is set to star as Jackie the Stripper, a parody of Jack the Ripper. So we'll see what that's all about. Taylor Tomlinson is stepping down from her After Midnight show. So CBS has decided there's nobody else that can replace Taylor, so we're just going to cancel the show. Vin Diesel is set to direct a Fast and Furious short film to set up the final film in the series. The TV show Watson, which is an updated version of Sherlock Holmes, got renewed for a second season. This is kind of interesting. So back in the mid-90s, probably about 30-some years ago, John Carpenter directed a movie called In the Mouth of Madness. And it is a sort of mixture of Lovecraftian sort of stuff and your typical John Carpenter sort of thing. Starred Sam Neill, who I'm reading his biography right now. He had a little bit to say about that in his biography. Nothing bad. He was fine about that. But he plays somebody who's trying to find a writer by the name of Sutter Kane, who is writing a horror novel, and he sort of disappeared. So he's an insurance. I think Sam Neill's an insurance guy, and the book company that bankrolled his book is afraid that he's stealing their insurance money or something like that. So they send Sam Neill to find him. Sam Neill discovers that he is being held captive in the town that is in his book that he's writing called In the Mouth of Madness. He's writing this book, and everything he's writing in the book is coming to life, and that includes the arrival of a Cthulhu sort of Lovecraftian creature who's going to end the world. And Sam Neill has to try to figure out a way to get out of the town alive, or somehow try to figure out a way to stop the end of the world from coming, because Sutter Kane has lost control of his book. That's kind of the premise behind it for the most part. But the funny thing is, they decided that this Halloween they were going to release the actual novel called In the Mouth of Madness, written by Sutter Kane. So basically the novel that the movie is, that everything he's writing in the book shows up in the location where they're in the movie, is actually going to be released in an actual book with an actual Sutter Kane, who is a fictional author. So the book's coming out at Halloween. So I guess it's more of a fan of it's really, I guess, kind of like what Tarantino did with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He released a novel version of that had a whole bunch of other stuff in it that he wasn't able to do in the movie because it would have made the movie too long. So that might be what they're doing with In the Mouth of Madness. But instead of it being an adaptation of the movie, it's going to be the story where the movie takes place, if you kind of get where I'm going at there. So, it's a little confusing, but here we are. The Lockerbie trailer. Lockerbie was a huge terrorist bombing on an airplane in Scotland. They're finally making a movie about it and the investigation of it. That's coming out here soon. We got a first trailer for that. Makers of Killing Eve are creating a new thriller called Honey about a love triangle that consists of a former member of MI6. So it's going to be your typical sort of thing. If you like Killing Eve, you'll probably like this as well. Gatorade Mashup is a new Gatorade which mixes two flavors into one bottle. They have really cool labels for it, and they have only two that are due to come out here soon. Haven't seen them yet, but those seem like ones I would try. And obviously the key thing they always say is you can do it yourself. You just buy one of each flavor and mix it together. You'll get the same flavor for it, but you won't have to buy two. You just buy one now in one bottle with a really cool label on it. So it's pretty cool. One Piece ice cream is coming to Baskin Robbins very soon. It's themed ice cream, probably, obviously. So we'll see what happens with that. Two Royal Air Force engineers, who I'm assuming were drunk, destroyed a Paddington statue of the Paddington Bear statue, beloved Paddington Bear statue. They destroyed it for no other reason than either they were just dicks or they were drunk or stoned out of their minds. Trailer for The Ritual, Al Pacino, Dan Stevens, it's a horror film. Don't know much else about it, but it's out there now. It's like an exorcism sort of thing, I think. Rachel Momsen to direct Love of Your Life for Amazon MGM. Guess that's a movie. I don't know much about that. Apple TV has picked up a TV show starring Jessica Chastain and Adam Driver. It's called The Dealer. So we'll see about that. Cinnamon roll cookies are a thing. My sister-in-law made some for New Year's Eve. They were so good, but this is an actual, Pillsbury cinnamon roll cookie sort of thing coming out now. Malcolm in the Middle reboot, recast Dewey because the actor who plays Dewey has stepped away from acting and has also cast Malcolm's daughter and 2 of the original cast members have returned for the show. It's a 4-episode reboot set to appear on Disney Plus here soon. Bryan Cranston and all of them are all coming back as well. So let's see what happens there. Some local news for me in college. As I said earlier in the show, last time I was on stage was about 30 years ago. And my theater group at college was called the Domino Players. And I discovered this week that they were celebrating their 100th anniversary this year. And on April 11th, which is a Saturday before Easter. That was a Friday before Easter. Friday before Good Friday also. They will be having a dinner and a improv sort of thing and some other stuff going on to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Domino Players. I will not be going, but it's cool to realize that a group that I was involved in for 4 years in college, 30 plus years ago, is celebrating its 100th anniversary, which means it was in their 70th anniversary when I was there. So kind of cool. Frida, which is a company that makes like baby safety, chairs and stuff like that, is celebrating a new creation, like a new chair or it's some sort of new baby thing. But in order to celebrate the arrival of this new thing, they've decided they're going to release something else in a limited quality and limited to them in a special sort of thing that they will never really do again. They're going to release breast milk ice cream. And it's due to come out in 9 months, obviously, because of the 9-month connotation. But it's more of a way to sort of market the new thing that they're doing. I don't know what it is, but I guess you talk about breast milk ice cream. That's going to get people's attention, and then you wow them with. And from the makers of this is this new thing coming out in 9 months also. But breast milk ice cream is definitely an interesting idea and probably what I should have named this episode. Now I think about it more and more, but oh well, I can't change it now. But there we go. That is the thing. I told my wife about it and she went, ugh. So, yep. So breast milk ice cream will be coming in 9 months from Frida. Don't know how you're going to be able to get it. I doubt it'll be in stores. You might have to buy it online or something like that. But yeah, it's out there. Joshua Blakenhouse, a 14-year-old YouTube star, TikTok star, passed away this week. Anniversaries. Invincible Season 1 debuted 4 years ago this week. A year ago, the Key Bridge here in Baltimore collapsed. I remember that. I talked about it on my show a year ago. How to Train Your Dragon, the animated movie, debuted 15 years ago this week as well. All right, 1.5 pages left, and then we're moving on to what's after 600. Now, Subway's really obsessed with their footlong stuff. They have their footlong subs. And they had their footlong cookie that you can get now too. Be prepared now for footlong nachos, which is a new thing from Subway now. So a footlong set of nachos will be coming your way from Subway very soon. Lionsgate is set to distribute Jennifer Lopez's remake of Kiss of the Spider Woman, which will probably be a Oscar favorite here once it comes out later this year, probably. Ryan Reynolds wants John Candy to be on Canadian currency. I think that's a brilliant idea also. Now You See Me 3, the third part, is set to debut now on November 14th, 2025. They were sure it was going to debut this year. They just didn't know the actual date. Now we do. Doctor Who Season 2 trailer debuted this week, and the newest one debuted this week. It's set to debut on April 12th on Disney+. Glenn Powell's Twisters is set to get a sequel. My wife and I and my daughter have been watching Ted Lasso. We finally got caught up on it. We've just started season 3. And a couple weeks ago, I announced that they're doing a 4th season. And then last week, I said that they started filming it because there was a video of Ted and Beard walking down the street being filmed. The newest rumor coming from the Ted Lasso 4 set. Spoiler alert for those who don't know, season 4 is going to be about Ted returning to coach a women's team for Richmond. And the newest rumor has, like last week, I had the rumor where they were going to recast Ted Lasso's son to be a little bit older and be a soccer prodigy as well, so you can use him to help train these people, I'm assuming, these women, I think. But we are getting the new rumor now is that the actor who plays Danny in Ted Lasso, his sister, his real-life sister, may be cast as Danny's sister in the series. Would make sense. Soccer is life. They have a similar sort of thing. It'd be interesting to have a female Danny on the team. So we will see if that is going to come to fruition or not. Kiss decides to unretire, and they have a new concert set to come up here soon. I never knew this, but NASA has never launched a manned mission that circled the poles. I guess there was no reason to or whatever, but that's about to change. SpaceX is going to be sending a crew to fly over the poles, I think, next year, I think. Linda Cardellini has been cast as Jason Voorhees' mom in the Crystal Lake TV show. Linda Cardellini was Velma in the live-action Scooby-Doo movie with Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Matthew Lillard. She also played Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye's wife. She was also in Freaks and Geeks, and she's been in a bunch of stuff as well. I want to say she was in Scream 3. I want to say she played Randy's sister, but don't quote me on that. But Linda Cardellini has been officially cast. She was rumored to be up for the role, but she's officially been cast as Jason Voorhees' mom. This is sounding more and more like it's going to be similar to the Psycho prequel, where we get a look at Norman Bates' mother and Norman when he was younger, how they deal with all that crazy stuff that happens that ends with Psycho happening, where the mother gets killed and Norman Bates goes crazy. It sounds like something like that could be happening here. This is kind of interesting. I've never really been a big fan of Taylor Sheridan. He seems to somehow always seem to do these big hits, so they all seem to be about the same thing. But this is kind of intriguing, actually. One of my favorite movies when I was a wee young one in my pre-teen era was there were 2 movies called Cannonball Run, Cannonball Run 2. It was all-star studded cast, including Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, Dean Martin, who's the black guy from Brat Pack? I can see it, but I couldn't tell you what it was. And then the Chinese Korean Christ. God, my mind is not working right. Sammy Davis Jr. and Jackie Chan, those were who they were, as just some of the cast members that were involved with it. And it's basically is a cross-country race worth millions, and the police, it's illegal. Police officers are trying to stop them. Other people are trying to stop them. They're trying to overtake each other. There's other side bets and all this stuff going on, and they win all this money and stuff like that. It's from one coast to the other coast. It's fast cars, fun, big scale, cast members, stuff like that. I'm always going to tell this story because it's funny. When we were younger, my parents would allow us to pick movies for our birthday. So there's a specific movie we wanted to watch. We'd go to dinner and we'd watch a movie that we picked. So we would pick the restaurant and we picked the movie. Well, 81 rolled around. It's 81 or 82. Maybe they re-released it in 82. No, it wasn't 82. It was 81. And Raiders of the Lost Ark was the hot movie at the time. And my sister, who was 11 years old at the time, she wanted to go see Raiders of the Lost Ark. But it was my birthday, so it was my choice. I had no desire to see Raiders of the Lost Ark because I was 8 years old. Instead, I wanted to see Cannonball Run 2, I think, is when that one came out. So instead of seeing Raiders of the Lost Ark in the movie theater, we saw Cannonball Run 2. Because we used to play that when we were kids, we would ride up and down our bikes and big wheels and do the stuff from Cannonball Run on our street. So Taylor Sheridan has decided he wants to do a Cannonball Run series for Paramount Plus. Could be interesting to see how they upgrade that to current times and who you would get to be cast in it, because Taylor Sheridan's able to get a lot of good cast members to come in here. So we'll see what happens. Hidden Valley Ranch is also set to release some new ranch flavors, including one called Blackened Ranch. The Chicago White Sox, baseball star race, Chicago White Sox, which is considered one of the worst teams in baseball, have had 6 pitchers, 600 episodes, 6 pitchers have to get Tommy John surgery this spring training alone. If you get, it's more, odds are more likely you can get one out of that. We just got somebody back who had Tommy John surgery. We had another one who had Tommy John surgery who re-injured the arm again. So we've had a couple that the Orioles have had, but the Chicago White Sox had 6 this year alone, and that'll take you out for a year and a half. You have to get the surgery, and then you got to recover and get your arm back to strength. So that is absolutely insane. Just more horror for the Chicago White Sox. In the new Spider-Verse comics, there are comics that are based in the Spider-Verse. They brought a Mary Jane variant who is basically Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as she slays vampires in a Marvel universe overrun by vampires. She is the Mary Jane the Vampire Slayer. The Dexter Resurrection series is absolutely going out of its mind with its casting, and similar to what's going on with Scream, they're returning characters that have died, and we're not exactly sure how that's going to play into things, if it's going to be flashbacks or mind fuckery or whatever. But Jimmy Smits and John Lithgow have both signed on to reprise their roles they played in the previous Dexter series in this new series. They also had the first pictures of Peter Dinklage as his serial killer character as well. So that's kind of interesting too. So Blumhouse is doing a Mummy remake. They did a Wolfman one. They did a Invisible Man one. So why not do Wolfman next, or rather do the Mummy next? So they're just going through all the Universal stuff. Now, the Invisible Man did really, really well. Wolfman didn't do as good. So we're hoping that this will be good. But Jack Rager has been cast as the male lead in the Mummy remake, and Leia Costa has been cast as the female lead. So we'll see how that goes with that, and we'll see how that works out. We got our first look at the Final Destination, the new movie coming out this summer, the new trailer for that. Same old stuff that you're used to seeing. Supposedly it's like the prequel to everything. So in Baltimore, there is a famous place called the Costas Inn, has the best crab cakes, they say, in the area. And the owner of the Costas Inn died due to monoxide poisoning this week. Old El Paso has released frozen bags of stuffed nacho bites and stuffed taco bites. So you can get these frozen sort of taco bites and nacho bites that you can put in your oven, heat up, or your air fryer or whatever, and pop them in your mouth, and they'd be delicious. Similar to, like the pizza rolls you get, stuff like that, but it's just taco stuff. Strangers Chapter 2, directed by Rennie Harlan, is set to debut September 26th. So it has been officially cast for this year. So even though it did okay. It didn't do spectacular. It's part of a trilogy. The fact they were able to get a second movie out in late September, right before October, is actually kind of brilliant. I'll give them credit for that. So we'll see how that actually works. If it's coming out during the summer, like the first one did, it might be a better idea to roll it out right before Halloween month, and that's a good idea. So that might be enough for it to get the third one to come out, and they can finish the trilogy. Joel State is set to re-team with Alan Tudyk in Resident Alien Season 4. The two of them work together in Firefly. Nicholas Hoult has been cast in David Leitch's heist film for Amazon. Emmy Rossum is set to star in a Hulu series based on a Black Widow movie, but not the MCU version. I guess it's an actual Black Widow about someone who marries men and then kills them for their money. So she'll be starring in a TV series based on that. There must be a book or something about it as well. Anniversaries: The Godfather debuted 53 years ago this week. The U.S. version of The Office debuted 20 years ago this week. John Wick Chapter 4 debuted 2 years ago this week. Deaths: we have Bill Mercer, announcer and former analyst for sports, passed away this week. Kitty Dukakis, the wife of presidential nominee Michael Dukakis, passed away this week. Tony Crane, a college football sophomore, was shot at a frat house, so he died about age 18, age 19. Miller Gardner, the son of Brett Gardner, former Yankees player, his 14-year-old son died this week as well. I think it was a boating accident, but don't quote me on that. The world's oldest waitress died at the age of 101. She was still working at the age of 101. She died this week as well. Didn't get a name. Just a story about that. Mia Love, the first Black Republican Congresswoman, died this week as well. She would have no place in the Republican Party of today, but there we are. All right, and we're down to the final pages here. This will probably be the last story right here at the very end. A 7.3 earthquake hit near Tonga today. So we've had two major earthquakes hit within the last couple of days. We got our first look at the sequel to Wicked. The Wicked for Good poster debuted this week, so it looks good. A kite was confiscated after it hit an American Airlines plane in the Washington area this week. The University of Maryland head basketball coach Fred Willard has left to join the coaching staff of Villanova. He's been under a lot of fire recently and was making a lot of unnecessary comments about the University of Maryland and his players. And it's, glad he's gone sort of thing. And to be honest, he's not all that impressive a coach. He did a lot better for Maryland Terrapins than their previous basketball coach, but only one Sweet 16 appearance in 20 years is not the sign of a brilliant coach. So do whatever you want to do. That's fine. I talked about this earlier. The Yankees are getting into a little bit of trouble with all the home runs they're hitting because they've created this whole brand new bat that has a fatter head to it. So the Milwaukee Brewers are complaining about that. So there's going to be an investigation into that and to see if they actually broke the law. If they did, hopefully there'll be lots of stuff that comes down on them and destroys them. All the number one seeds in the men's college basketball tournament have made it to the Final Four, the first time that's happened since 2008. We got our first look at Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks' new show, The Better Sister, set to debut on May 29th on Amazon Prime. Guitar Hero is set to have a brand new video game, the first in 10 years. So get ready for a return to Guitar Hero. A fire burned at Epcot Center right near the Ratatouille ride. No one was hurt. I talked about how I was not the biggest fan of Alfonso Cuarón's third Harry Potter movie. It has good aspects to it, but it's just not I don't think he's as great as everyone makes it out to be. Could he be up for the new James Bond by Amazon? That's a little bit more intriguing, actually, to me. That could be actually really interesting to see what he can do with that. So we'll see what happens. Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, is engaged to her boyfriend. France has discovered a $92 billion reserve of hydrogen. So they'll be able to control hydrogen for a while. More from the corrupt White House. The White House is seeking corporate sponsors for their Easter egg hunt. That's just great. The newest rumor out there now is Katy Perry, JonBenet Ramsey, and that's just a bunch of stupid bullshit. It's up there with Avril Lavigne died and was replaced by someone else a year later. It's another stupid story, but I figured since it's my 600th episode, why not bring it up? Because it's stupid, but kind of see what I have to deal with. Now, before I get to my last story of the week, some anniversaries. Beetlejuice debuted 37 years ago this week. Spy Kids debuted 24 years ago this week. Pretty Woman debuted 35 years ago this week. Way to go, Pretty Woman. And I think I watched the movies that made us on that this week, not knowing that it was the 35th anniversary of Pretty Woman. So that's pretty cool. Maybe I did, and that's why I did it. Deaths this week, the big one today. Richard Chamberlain passed away, the popular star of the Thornbirds, the original Shogun, died at the age of 90. He's also done a ton of other stuff. Let me see if we can find some of his other stuff while we have some time here. There he is. King Solomon's Mines, he was in that also. That's right. So let's see. Any hugely popular movies here. He was in The Towering Inferno. He was in The Three and Four Musketeers. King Solomon's Mines. He played Alan Quartermain and reprised the role again. He did King Solomon's Mines and Alan Quartermain, Lost City of Gold, though he's reprised his role of Alan Quartermain a few times. He was cast as Aramis in the Musketeers movies, and there's been a bunch of those as well. I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, which is an Adam Sandler movie. He was also the voice of Highfather in Justice League Gods and Monsters. Television roles. Thornbirds is his big one. And he was also in the original Shogun, I thought. I don't see that listed here, but he was in the original Shogun. Was that a movie? Maybe that was a movie. No, I know he was in the other Shogun. Drama series. Yeah, that's what. I guess he wasn't listed there. Yeah, it was a mini series. So yeah, I missed it, the television one. So yeah, he was in the original Shogun as well. So he was big kind of star. People knew who he was. Radio DJ Andy Peebles passed away. It says John Cash, I think, a former Denver Broncos defensive end. So that probably is true. And Richard Morton, who was an Australian martial artist and stuntman, he passed away this week. Bruce Glover, who was a henchman on Diamonds Are Forever, the James Bond movie. It was also Crispin Glover's dad. He passed away this week as well. And then two of the greatest names ever. Livingston Bramble, who was a former lightweight champion who changed his name to Rosai Aju Bramble, passed away this week. And Barrymore Morton, a CFL player, died this week as well. The final story for this 600th episode of Dylan Knows. A Georgia bagpiper dies in a Hawaii scuba accident days before his missing son's skeletal remains were found in a backyard treehouse. There's a lot to unpack there. Georgia bagpiper dies in Hawaii scuba accident days before the missing skeletal remains of his son were found in a treehouse. I don't know how to respond to that. That is indeed something very interesting. That's it for my 600th episode. I'm sorry it wasn't more exciting, but I don't have any motivation. I don't have the talent. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't have the mental capacity to do anything really exciting, but I'm going to keep churning these out, as I said, in 2 years from now. Let's see, 104 weeks from now. So let's see, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, and then let's add 4 days to that. So sometime in early April of 2027, if I do a one per week and not double up and stuff like that, we will see my 700th episode. Let's just see it here. Let's see when Easter is set. Oh, Easter is in March in 2027. So it's early again in 2 years. So we're looking around probably April 3rd of 2027. Again, if I just do weekly and don't double up or anything like that, looking like April 3rd of 2027 will be my 700th episode. If we're still living, I'm still living. The country still exists. Free speech still exists. And if I still have the energy to do this and the wherewithal to do that. So we'll see. But right now, let's just enjoy the 600th episode of Dylan Knows that has just been completed. I know a lot of people don't watch my show, but I was hoping a little bit more would watch it live. Yeah, one person came in for like 2 seconds and then left. Nobody watched the majority of that. I guess 8 o'clock on a Sunday is a weird time, I suppose, but it's prime time. And I placed it all over social media, but whatevs. We'll find out for sure when I post it on all my social media pages, see how many people actually watch it. It'll probably be about maybe 14 is my usual amount. So kind of pressing that only that many people are going to watch my 600th episode. But again, I didn't do anything hugely fanatical for it. So, oh well. We're getting to 601 next week. I'm not going to go see it, but the Jesus, head in my head. The Minecraft movie is set to debut this weekend, next weekend, I should say. And I think my family's the whole month of April has got something going on every weekend in April. So there might be times where I'm not here or I'm here by myself, or we're going to have Easter weekend. So that's where we're all together, but there might not be any of that coming up here soon. It's going to be a weird month. Things are getting rough at work again, which really pisses me off. Temperature's getting warmer though. We're entering April, which is basically October, but for spring. So April is the October of spring. So we'll be getting more into what spring should be for April. We have Easter coming up, which is a big deal. And that's good. Tomorrow, Monday, we're supposed to be hit with a massive thunderstorms and rainstorms. We'll see if that actually happens. Kids have off school, so good for them. I have to go to work. Yippee. So that's it for my 600th episode of Dylan Knows. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking around. Bye.